Hello, Jay Gurudev. This is my week 12 mini case study, which I can present better this way. All right, just getting right into it. The things that we're going to keep in mind for the case study are trying to figure out the client's Agni, the taste that the client should have, whether they have a nourishing or lightening therapy, the digestive herbs for this client. There's a concern for acne, for stress and ADHD that we'll see in just a moment. So what types of things are going to be good for those? This is our client. He's a 20-year-old male, 5'11", 165 pounds. Blood pressure is 122/79, a little high for his age especially. And beats per minute are 70. His current concerns are acne, stress, ADHD, and chronic heartburn. And his Nadi Vigyan, bear with me for all these colors here, but it's for a reason. Ultimately, the pulse was overall subtle, light, and moving. But as you can see by some of the color coding here, a lot of pitta qualities are taking over many areas of the pulse. Sharp, hot, warm, slightly oily, everywhere. A lot of the other colors are the blue for Vata, but you'll notice some have red lettering. That means it could also be a pitta quality. So taking all of this into account while looking at this screen, it looks like an overwhelming amount of pitta qualities are going on in the pulse here. And the Dhatu pulse is the Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, and Meta. So those are the beginning tissues, which I will get into as well. So with those few things being said, I guess I could stop sharing my screen there. So with the Darshana, I can see that the client has medium lips, is tall, is medium and sharp facial features, and the skin tone all tell me that we're dealing with a Pitta Vata Prakriti. And with the Nadi Vigyan, I would definitely say that Pitta is the Vikriti and even the Gati. The Agni, my client's Agni, especially with heartburn, acne, the Pitta and the Gunas, the Dhatu pulse being those first tissues based around transformation and transportation, that's Tikshna Agni. The sweat, the Meta cannot properly form, or the fat can't properly form in the muscles, and it leaves the body unprotected and less stable when these issues are happening in Tiksha Agni. I would say that the client also is Nirama due to the lack of covering in the pulse, but I'd be careful to wash for Amavish. There's a lot of heat turning around. Some assumptions I have about this client is he's a college age, so I would assume that his sleeping habits are not so great, potentially alcohol, maybe sports. Around that, I would ask if they were competitive sports, if there might be any steroids. Eating requirements, I know in wrestling there might be fasting and binging and purging and a lot of unhealthy things going on that way, so it's good to at least know. And I'd also like to know for his acne or ADHD or for heartburn if he's on any medication already that I need to be aware of. My dietary assumption for a young man, potentially in college, is that he's eating a lot of fast food, caffeine, and meat. With all of this in mind, my recommendations would be Brahmana, nourishing diet, while pacifying Pitta and not aggravating Vata. So the rasas to favor would be bitter, sweet, and astringent. I recommend regular meals. There's that hangry factor in Pitta. not skipping the meals, eating warm but not hot. Kanji would be a really good snack. Sipping it in between meals helps prevent hyperacidity. Ghee is the number one thing for almost any nourishing diet, unctuous, building, and super yummy. For his acne, I would actually like to recommend the Mangista powder or tablets. They make both. It's a blood purifier and removes the excess heat from the blood, and it's especially good for skin issues. For the ADHD, although I think of it more as a vata aggravation, the fast moving and high temperature of pitta could also be activating it. The prana shows movement and cloudiness in the subdosha. So the diet and sleep schedule alone should help sort this out. But adding in TM and non-competitive grounding exercises like yoga or Tai Chi, something like that. A great focus on intentional movement and stillness, giving time, making time to be still and sticking to it, especially if my assumptions are right. If this person is already competitive, very active and in sports, they still want to keep moving, but have to schedule a time to be still. And lifestyle and stress reduction is key, but it can be greatly helped by a cooling diet, especially with a really tough schedule in front of somebody. And, I think that a pitta might even be the easiest constitution to work with regarding commitment, but it's possibly the easiest one to give in to impulses as well, at least in my personal experience, especially if that anger or some other emotion comes in. Basically, I would suggest working on impulse control. Well, hopefully that was enough information for this client. And in balancing a pitta aggravation. So hopefully these are suggestions that will help him clear it up. And we look forward to talking next time. Jai Gurudev.